Hey everybody, and welcome to Chris's monthly morning breakfast thoughts. Today for breakfast, I'm having a Coca-Cola Energy. This is a new drink Coca-Cola has released, which is apparently all the flavor and fun of Coca-Cola with a little more energy. I'm guessing that's probably caffeine. I don't know why you'd need more caffeine in a Coca-Cola. I always thought they were caffeinated enough. But even weirder is why this would make a good breakfast. I figure this makes a good breakfast because sometimes in the morning you just can't get up. You just don't have the energy. So the plan is I'm going to drink this entire can of Coca-Cola Energy, and then we're going to continue on with Chris's monthly morning breakfast thoughts, and we'll see how I'm doing. Hopefully I'm doing better than I am now because I can't even see the name of the show. So let's give it a try. So crack it open here. Well, already I'm not managing the lid very well. It is a smaller can than regular Coca-Cola, so that's a good thing. It tastes a little fruitier than Coca-Cola. So it's like Coca-Cola with like a fruity twist, and it's not nearly as caffeinated or as carbonated. Now the particular can that I purchased, since I don't actually live in North America, is in Cambodian. So I can't actually read what's in it. Even the ingredients are all in Cambodian. So here's hoping for the best. One of the news items is I heard that this is actually going to be released in North America. So I figure if it's being released in North America, it's got to be safe, right? There we go. One can of Coca-Cola Energy down the tubes. Well, while we're waiting for this can of Coca-Cola Energy to energize me up, let's take a look at the news. Well, there's a few news stories that happened last month in the candy world that I think are just important enough to talk about. First of all, apparently they're making a Flamin' Hot Cheetos movie, and there's actually like big names signed up to direct, produce, and star in this movie. Now, most of you might be wondering, a Cheetos movie? I mean, what could it be about? I don't think it's actually about the Cheetos themselves. I think it's actually about the creation and the origin of Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And it actually has a really interesting origin about a guy who was basically I think he was wow, that caffeine's starting to kick in a little. He worked at the Cheetos factory, and I think he just worked as like a custodian. And he came up with this idea of making the sort of the recipe that became Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And now he's like on the executive of Frito-Lay. So it might be an interesting story. It might actually be worth seeing. And there's so many fans of Flamin' Hot Cheetos, and so many people that I think might be sort of interested in the weirdness of this movie. I think it might actually work out. So my fingers are crossed, and when it comes out, I'll definitely go see it. The other thing interesting that happened this past month is Kit Kat in Japan announced that they're going to be releasing their Kit Kats in packages that can then be folded into origami. So I guess they'll be coming in sort of a square wrapper that's paper and easily foldable. And the idea is it's sort of better for the environment. You can sort of make little pieces of art. And in Japan, particularly origami cranes are quite common and useful, and often used as a decoration. So you can kind of turn your Kit Kat packages into these awesome decorations. I think that's a great idea. I think more candy companies should maybe you do something with their wrappers that allows you to actually interact with it, or do something, or recycle it, sort of reuse it in your own world. I think that'd be a really fun thing to do. So if I see a pack of these Kit Kats, I'm going to give them a try and check it out. So if you see one, tell me what you fold your package into. I'd be interested to know. The other thing, this isn't a particular news article, but over the last month there was a lot of articles about CBD candies. There was all kinds of things about like different companies that are starting to get into sort of the CBD, which is the marijuana infused candies. A whole bunch of really weird companies, including a mattress company that's getting into selling CBD candies, I guess, to try and relax you. The other thing that came up in that sort of regard was apparently if you bake CBD brownies, the chocolate actually cuts back on the effects of the drugs. So they're actually not as effective. So all you people that thought that brownies were better, apparently science is saying you might be wrong, and it might just be that you're putting more of the marijuana in your brownies than you would normally smoke. So it actually makes it more powerful that way. But there's just been a lot of news. I think there's going to be a lot more news. Canada legalizing it, more places in the States legalizing it. I think this is just going to become a huge industry. All of you who invest in stocks in companies doing this are brilliant. And I think we might even start seeing other candy, like legitimate candy companies starting to enter this market more and more, because I think this is going to be an area that's going to be worth a lot of money. And I think it's a door that's now been opened. So I'll be interested to see. The other thing to talk about is McDonald's put out something called the PLT, or they're planning on putting out something called the PLT, and the P stands for plant-based. So they're releasing sort of their own version of their plant-based burger, and I saw a picture of this burger, and one thing that really excites me about the PLT is it has lettuce, tomatoes, and it reminds me a lot of, there used to be a hamburger called the McDLT in the 80s, which was the biggest waste of environment in the world. It came in this giant styrofoam container, and one side was hot and one side was cold. But the cool thing about it is it had lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise. It was more like your standard hamburger. And lettuce and tomato in a burger is not very common in McDonald's. So this is like, I'm really excited about this PLT. I'm kind of hopeful about plant-based burgers. And I haven't really had that much opportunity to try too many because of where I'm living right now. But I'm hoping in the future, like when I go back home to North America, I really want to sort of jump in on this a little bit and test it out and see what I think. So I'm excited about this. I'm hoping more places do this. There's nothing wrong with it. I think as an option, it's fine. I don't think it's going to be getting rid of meat any time in the near future. So, I mean, that's good. Finally, this is sort of hot off the presses. Tim Hortons apparently has a deal with Kit Kat, and they're producing some, the special donuts this coming up now are Tim Hortons sort of Kit Kat crossover. And I mean, one of my favorite donut shops and one of my favorite chocolate bars coming together. Nothing can go wrong with this, except for the fact that I'm not in Canada and I can't eat any right now. So any of you Canadian folks out there, if you have a chance to give these a try, let me know how they're like, but don't give me too much detail because I'm going to be really jealous if that's the case. So it appears, I'm thinking I might be a little more energized. I don't think I'm out of control energized unless I'm not noticing it at all. But so far, it's Coke Energy, maybe a little bit of a boost, but I'm not feeling it yet or anything like that. So why don't we talk about what's going on Candy Critic? So for the last few months, I've been talking about the updates that we've been doing on Candy Critic and saying that, oh, it'll be done this time. And I will admit, I've been changing the dates a lot. But I really think that you guys are going to see the new version of Candy Critic probably before the end of the month, or at least at the beginning of November. We're down to like the last few reviews. I'm editing them through. And I mean, you guys have been really patient and I really appreciate it. But I really think it's going to be worth it. The new version of Candy Critic is going to look fantastic. In fact, it looks fantastic because I've already been looking at it. I've been looking at it for the last few months. But I'm really happy with the way that the new edited versions of the reviews are up, the new format. You're going to have so many ways to check the reviews on Candy Critic, including by brand, by variety. So you can check out all the Kit Kats that I reviewed, all the Dairy Milk bars that I reviewed, all the sort of Lay's chips, all the different flavors of Lay's chips. You'll be able to just look at that category and that category only. So the new update, I'm down to just, I'm editing the letter T reviews. And if you'll think about it, I mean, there's, T is sort of the last large category of reviews that I've got left. After that, like, when you get the W, X's, and Y's, there aren't too many candies that start with that. So I really think probably by the end of this month, you're going to be seeing the new Candy Critic. I'm hoping that next time I record this episode of Chris's Monthly Morning Breakfast Thoughts, that you're going to be, I'll be talking all about the new version of Candy Critic. So here's hoping, but it's looking really good. The other thing I thought I'd mention is I'm going to be doing a couple more blogs as soon as the new website's done. I've got a couple in mind, a couple things I want to try out. I might also try a couple of videos, but I'm really enjoying sort of writing some blogs and different things like that. So keep an eye out for that on our blog. You can go to candycritic.org and you can definitely find the link to our blog there. And if it's the new Candy Critic, you're going to find the blog even easier. So that is quite awesome. But yeah, still, I'm feeling a little sweaty. I don't know if it's the heat from, I'm actually in front of a big window right now, so maybe it's the heat from that. I might be talking a little faster, but I'm still not convinced that this Coke Energy is like blowing my mind or anything like that. But why don't we talk about some of our social media stuff? As always, you can follow us on Twitter @CandyCritic, or you can go to candycritic.org and find links to all of our other social media, including Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr. And actually, if you look at Facebook and Instagram and our Twitter feed, we're doing a new segment called Very Short Drink Reviews. So it's a new sort of thing we're doing. And the Coke Energy is going to be on there I'm basically writing reviews of drinks that I try. I always come across weird drinks and interesting drinks. So, and I do it, and I try and do it in like, only a couple of words or only like a short sentence. I review various drinks. So you can check that out on our social media. Make sure to follow us on any of them. But you can also go to candycritic.org again and find links to all of our social media. And if the new Candy Critic is up, you're going to get to check out the links there are so easy to find. You can also follow us on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/candycritic. And on Patreon, you get a whole bunch of extra stuff, including you get a weekly video on Fridays, which is it sort of talks about what we're up to, some behind the scenes stuff. Get a little bit of extra content. Sometimes you get to choose what we get to review on the site. You get to see a lot of these videos, like this one, ahead of time. And of course, you get to, there's, depending on what tier you're in, sometimes you can even get candy delivered to your house, picked by me. I will go to the store and I will buy you something cool and I will send it to your house. So by all means, if you can, it also helps support the site greatly. We really appreciate all our patrons, and it's really a great thing. But thanks for watching another episode of Chris's monthly morning breakfast thoughts, where I drank a Coca-Cola Energy, and quite frankly, I'm kind of feeling a little energized, but maybe a little buzzed. But I've had much worse, so I don't know. Maybe we can check back in a little bit and see how I am. But for now, it's not really bugging me too much. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month. Bye. Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola Energy.